wow. It's hard to believe that it's been one whole year since Sora arrived in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I mean, I remember when he was announced, and I remember all the way back to the beginning of the Fighters Ballot, which now we know Sora was the #1 winner of that. I mean, back then, what was that, 2014, 15? I mean, that was a big deal. I mean, of course, Sora was my #1 choice, as was clearly a lot of people's #1 choice, since he, of course, won. But, I mean, there were other characters I did vote for as well, like King K. Rool and Ridley, who made it in, and another character like, I kid you not, I voted for Ninten from the original Mother, now known as Earthbound Beginnings, which that clearly didn't happen, and he would probably just been another NES clone. But yeah. But like, I remember back then people going just like, oh yeah, vote for this character, or, you know, things like that. And I remember debates on what counted as viable options for Smash Bros. Characters and stuff, and Sora was always a point of contention. Not just because of, you know, him being a popular pick, but because of things like, oh, who owns him? Which I know to this day is still kind of a hotly debated topic, even though it's Disney is the definitive answer. But there's other things, like, does he really belong in a game like this? Like, because I remember people saying, like, he's not really a video game character since he's owned by Disney, and I'm just like, well, he comes from a video game, so clearly he counts. Yeah, but I'm just rambling on stuff that doesn't really matter right now. But yeah, I remember reacting to his reveal on the 5th of October, very early in the morning for me. It was like 7 in the morning, I think, is when I woke up. I did film it, but I kind of forgot to put that on YouTube, and I don't think it's really relevant anymore, and it's honestly really, really hard to watch because I just act like oh god, I don't even like to describe how I acted, but it's just, I mean, it was a dream come true. Kingdom Hearts, if you look at my channel, is my favorite video game series of all time. And I mean, I consider it one of the greatest video game series of all time. I know I haven't played lots of video game series at all. I'm not very well versed in playing video games much at all, to be completely honest. I mean, I know what I like, and I know what I try to stay away from. And Smash Bros. Is another big video game series that I really enjoy, even though I fell out of it for a few years. But it also introduced me to other great video game series, that some of which, actually one, to be more specific, is now my second favorite video game series of all time. That's Xenoblade Chronicles. I consider the first Xenoblade Chronicles to be the best game I've ever beaten. I'm sure there's other games I've played that are probably better, but Xenoblade Chronicles is the first one I beat that I consider probably the best game that I've, again, beaten. Yeah. But that's not Sora. So Sora, there was debate on whether it should be Sora, not in the sense of like, oh, does Kingdom Hearts matter, but in the sense of, should Sora be the representative? And I get what people mean. The Kingdom Hearts fans get what people mean, like if you're deep into Kingdom Hearts. Roxas, it was another big one. Riku's a big one. But everyone had to agree that it had to be Sora. Sora was the flagship character. He's the face of the series, despite not being the main character in every single game. He is the face of the series. And seeing him in Smash to this day still blows my mind. Sometimes I kind of forget that it even happened. But every time I remember, it is a massive jolt to the brain. Like, I cannot believe this happened. And going through the news and press and interviews after he released was incredible to think about the circumstances of what happened. Because I mean, the team at Smash and Nintendo knew that Sora was the winner, but they didn't think they would be able to get him because they thought Disney would be so hard to work with. And I'm not a person who knows all about corporate and business decisions and how those inner dealings work. That is definitely not my area of expertise. But I can understand when someone is hard to deal with. So, them thinking Disney would be hard to deal with, yeah, I completely get. And I mean, the funniest part was that Disney was so on board with the idea that they were just like, they were basically like, why didn't you come to us sooner? Was what basically happened. They were so on board with Sora being in there. And I mean, it was also part of their whole initiative to bring Disney characters into video game franchises, which I'm unsure if they're still doing that nowadays, a whole year later. Because I remember them adding Jack Sparrow into Sea of Thieves and Jungle Book characters into Fall Guys, neither of which are games I actually play, along with other characters in Fortnite. I don't play that either. But the whole Sora being a Smash thing was part of that whole initiative as well. And not only that, but he also kicked off the whole Kingdom Hearts 20th anniversary celebrations, which resulted in the announcement of 2 whole Kingdom Hearts games, Missing Link and Kingdom Hearts 4. It's just... This is just... I've probably said it before, but it's a dream come true. This is really the... People have said it before, this is the best timeline, really. I know some people were upset, but the vast majority of people, like maybe 85 to 90% of people, were very, very happy with this decision. And it was... Everyone was over the moon. But the fact that Disney was okay with it, and that it was series director Tetsuya Nomura who was more on the fence about it, because he didn't know if they could represent him properly, was... That just is kind of funny to me, that Disney was not the obstacle that everyone thought it would be. My only real wish that wasn't really fulfilled was honestly the selection of music that was chosen. There were only, 10 tracks, and one of them you had to have a Melody of Memory save data on your Switch in order to get. And all the songs were originally from the first game, which... The first game, yes, it has great music, but there's great music in every game. So, I wish they had branched out and grabbed more music from other games. Like, I would have loved to see 13 Struggle in there, or Rage Awakened, or even some newer stuff. Like, I know people don't really care much for it, but Dark Domination would have worked really well. Vector to the Heavens, that would have worked well. Even one of my new favorites, Dawn of Hope, that one would have been amazing in this game. I would have loved to have heard that. Even some stuff that was from the first game that wasn't included in this, like, I would have loved to hear the Deep End, Guardando nel Buio, Forza del Male. Squirming... No, we got Squirming Evil. What am I thinking of? No, it is Squirming Evil. Yeah, Squirming Evil. The song for when you're fighting the Disney villains. That... There are so many good tracks that they could have picked, but they only picked 10. Granted, it was a really good 10 choices, but I think they limited themselves a bit too much. And I also am unsure on the whole fiasco about not having any non-Kingdom Hearts original Disney characters, like on the stained glasses, which I actually learned are actually from a press event, I think, for the 10th anniversary, or was it 15th? One of the anniversaries where they had special stained glass Dive to the Heart stations for each character, and they were unique versions with like different panels. Like, I know the big point of contention is Donald and Goofy being absent from Sora's. And again, I don't know the details about this. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the contract says. But I know that the Dive to the Heart platform they did use is a cross between his main one as well as the one you see in Birth by Sleep. Yeah, it's a hybrid of those two, which I think is fine. I personally don't mind it. And honestly, some of the platforms are actually, I think, are better, the Smash versions, than the original Kingdom Hearts versions. But honestly, I don't know what else to say. This is just, it's monumental to not just Smash Bros, because he's the final fighter of the ultimate Smash Bros game. He's the 82nd full fighter, not counting echoes or alternate skins. Like, he's the final fighter. That's a big deal in and of itself. Like, in the same way Bayonetta was a big deal for the previous Smash game. And, like, I didn't care about Bayonetta, but I knew she was a big deal because it's the final fighter. And it's also Kingdom Hearts getting this much recognition from a big studio like this in a big game, Disney being on board with it to this much this is amazing. I mean, I don't fully remember how I felt when he was announced. I mean, it felt so long ago, and yet it also felt like it was last week. Because it's like, it was such a big deal. It was such a big deal. I binged all of Melody Memory, it is still the newest game, but I redid the whole game on the Switch just so I could get that extra song. Waiting for him to release in Smash. I don't know what else to say. It's just big. And I love it. I love that he's here. And if there are going to be more Smash games, and they're going to continue on with what Ultimate did, I hope he sticks around. Disney seems like they're still on board with it. I mean, they were that ready. I'm hoping he stays around. If they do a complete reset, that's fine too. Just get a bunch of characters that really, really matter to today, like big Nintendo characters. But if they're gonna continue doing third parties, I would love for Sora to still be around. That's all I think that's all I got. So I'm going to keep enjoying Smash. I'm going to keep enjoying playing as Sora. And here's to the fans, and here's to the people who voted for him in the Smash ballot. And I guess here's to many more years of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And Smash Bros. In general. And Kingdom Hearts. Farewell.